Hello there, fellow humans, and today I want to talk about how you can get better with your light tanks. Now, obviously, the first thing is always the equipment and all those kind of things. I would equip them pretty much like this. Obviously, enhanced gun length, drive, vertical stabilizer, very important to get your accuracy going on the move. Enhanced armor doesn't make any sense. I would go for the improved modules because you get less ramming damage. So if you do get rammed, you're somewhat a bit safer there. And also the engine accelerator, because why not? Yeah, let's get into it. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And what do you think about light tanks? Are they enjoyable to you? Are they too hard to play for you? What do you think about them? Put it in the comments. So, the problem with them is that armor is your best security, basically. If you make a mistake, if you peek too far, something like that, and you have a lot of armor, then that armor can save you, and save you from losing a lot of hit points. And even if you lose hit points, you have more than you do have in a light tank. So, you can be a lot more error prone if you play a heavy tank or a well-armored medium tank. With a light tank, you can't really allow yourself any mistakes, because any mistake that you make is most likely going to result in penetration. And the first thing that you can do, or should do in a light tank, is do a sort of spotting run, as you can see right here. I did spot two guys. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that position, and I'm going to go look down here what I can find. Now don't go too aggressive. I wouldn't go over the center of the map, or like the middle. Because otherwise you'll be otherwise you're either a Dracula player or you're just going to YOLO and die, which is not good. So I wouldn't go over to the center of the map when you do a spotting run like that. But what you can do, obviously, you have excellent ability in this vehicle. I tend to not use calibrated in them, because if I can shoot the enemy in the rear like that, then I don't need that extra penetration. Now, one of the most important things that light tank players need to have is game awareness. You need to know where the enemies are. Now, we're going to shoot the MX, and now I'm going to get out of here. Now, we do know the Jagdtiger should be somewhat isolated down there, so I'm going to go for the Jagdtiger here. He can one-shot me, which is unfortunate. However, he's tank destroyed, so he doesn't have any... He can't fight me if I'm close to him, because if I'm behind him, there is no chance at all. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try... Is he looking at me? He might be. No, he's actually not. I'm going to try to go... Wait, tracking shot. Now he's reloading, which is good for me. However, there's only 7 seconds of reload, so I'm going to go around, and I can do that here. And now, what we do is, I'm behind him. And he can't do anything about it, because he's a tank destroyer. Big fat tank destroyer. That's what you want to do as well. And what's the important thing as well that you want to do, ideally, is you want to isolate lonely tanks. Tanks that are alone, tanks that are isolated. That's what you want to go for, because that way, especially if it's tank destroyer, they can't fight back. They can't do anything about you. And now, he can turn. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to take a different position. Okay, now because the thing is, awareness is the most important thing of a light tank player. And to gain awareness, you need to do 3 things. You need to understand the maps. You need to know where can you go, how to play the map, know which position can you take that you get spots, that you can get shots, all those kind of things. Now, the best way to do that is to either play games, and also, once you already have some experience, maybe go into a training room with a friend and experiment there to see what positions do work for a certain tank and which don't, which is certainly can be very useful. So, the point is, light tanks are essentially advanced tier tanks, and I wouldn't recommend them to get into at the beginning, because just learn to play a heavy tank, learn to play medium tanks, because if you do that, you already pick up a couple of things about how the maps generally work. And because if you understand where the heavies play, you then, if you play a light tank, you know where you can kill them. Or then you only have to find out which positions you go to get rid of them, because you know where the heavies are. Now you just got to find yourself a position with a light tank to kill them from. Now, Jagdtiger, last one alive. Again, gonna use the HEP rounds on this vehicle, ideally here, because this thing has amazing HEP, so it is very hard to play, but it is a great entry premium light tank. Wouldn't recommend that, though, in your first 2,000 to 3,000 battle. Now, we're gonna do it even worse, and that's the MX-1390, now auto-loading light tanks. Well, they're even harder to play, because obviously you need to exactly know where to fall back, which is always the thing that you have to know. Now, obviously, ideally, what you want to do at the battle, beginning of the battle with a light tank, especially if it's a very fast one, you want to go for a spotting run. You want to tell your team where the enemies are at. Ideally, that way, your team can already move in a way to fight them better. And there we go. Now, obviously, ideally, you don't have any armor. You want to take shots when the enemy is not looking. How do you know when the enemy is not looking? That is simple game awareness. Now, obviously, I do know that is a lot harder to do on the mobile than it is on PC. So I think light tanks are a lot more PC biased than other tank classes because the more you see, the more you look, the more gaps you can find, the more positions you can find to cause damage. See, Thief to a lightweight is not looking. I drop down, I shoot him. Tiger, now not looking, and I shoot him. Boom. You have to exactly know what you're doing. And now the IS-3 is up there. The IU's down here. What I'm going to do now, these 3 guys are bundled up, and the LTB is also coming down. So basically, they're focused now. I push out here. That puts me under focus. I'll push forward even more, but I get past the SU's gun pretty much so that it gets uninterested. You know, like you either have to be next to the enemy or behind the enemy, ideally, because that way they're not going to shoot you. You don't have armor. You can't get shot. Avoid getting shot. Now, obviously, don't camp. Camping a light tank is the most useless thing you can have in a battle. It has to be an active light tank. You have to know how to move this vehicle around. And that is going to take some time. You're not going to instantly get good with light tanks, obviously. But the most important things are essentially to try to understand Blitz as a strategy game. It's not just a point-and-click adventure. Blitz is a strategy game, so you have to understand a lot of the things of how the strategy works. Best way to do that is to analyze your replays as well. That is very, very important. Especially also for light tanks, and not for all tanks as well. Analyze your replays. What did I do wrong? Where could I have gone to do more damage? Think about those things. Because that way, you get better at the game. It's not gonna... You're not gonna just watch an 8-minute video and then suddenly you're an expert at light tanks. That's not how it works. However, those are the things that you have to know. Now, ideally, you want to catch out tanks that are on their own, you know, as well. That is something very easy. Then again, you do need awareness to find them. You know, if you have a tank that is completely on their own, and especially if it's a tank destroyer, like that Yak in the last game, you know, you can get free damage off that, pretty much. Now what I'm going to do again, I'm going to spot him, which gives me more spotting damage. You know, I'm going to move around, though. Use the positions here. He can't shoot me. However, I did spot him there. And now he's turning away, which means I peek out and I get more damage. That is how a light tank works. So, hope you did learn something. Hope you now get some inspiration of how to learn how to play light tanks. Because obviously, it is a continuous process that takes a while. But overall, I hope you'll have a good time with your light tanks, because they are very fun. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. See you next one. Goodbye.